What's going on, guys? DC Supreme is back with a triple review for you guys. We've got the Tom Holland, Tobey Maguire, and Andrew Garfield Spider-Man figures in Marvel Legend retro card form, somewhat. It's really just a card, but I'm really excited for these three guys, and we're going to get straight into the review now. First up here, we've got Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, also known as Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. He comes with two little web-thwipping hands here. And it would be nice if these had, webs to come with them. As you see, my camera doesn't want to focus because I forgot to switch it to 4K. And here is the Tobey Maguire head sculpt. It's nice that they included this with the figure since they didn't include these with the 3-pack one. If you look at the face straight on, Tobey Maguire just looks bored. But on an angle, it kind of looks like him a little bit. One thing I really hate about these figures is the body buck. It's all pretty much the same scrawny body type. The articulation's okay. The ab crunch is nice, but a lot of it is just on the eyes. I'm not too psyched on this body buck. The line work on the suit looks alright. He's got, double jointed elbows. He's got the classic Marvel Legends articulation you all know about. There's no toe articulation, unfortunately, but these are the things we've come to expect with Hasbro and their varying inconsistencies. The articulation is good enough to get these figures into some pretty dynamic poses. As you can see, I'm swapping to a web-thwipping hand. You can get some good web-thwipping action going on here into some action pose. I'm not great at posing, so you have to deal with this goofy stuff that I'm doing here. But the articulation is far from the biggest issue with this figure. It's mostly just that body buck that I'm not really crazy about. And the legs were actually quite stiff, and I put it in hot water, and it really didn't help too much. But I've been noticing that's like a common trend recently with the Legends series and their Spider-Man figures in general. And as you can see here, I did a little swapski, and we've got the Tobey Maguire face sculpt, and it does look a lot better from a side profile. It looks a lot more like Tobey Maguire, as opposed to straight on, where he just looks bored out of his skull and not very interested at all. Next up, we have my least favorite Spider-Man out of the three, but not in terms of the action figure itself. Not a big Tom Holland fan, but you can tell which likeness they tried the hardest on with these three figures. I think the Tom Holland likeness is easily the best out of the three. Andrew Garfield's a close second. The articulation on him is pretty similar, because I do think the body buck is close to the same, but not the exact same. It's not as scrawny looking as the Tobey Maguire one, which is, I guess, understandable since Tobey Maguire's kind of like pushing 50 at this point in the No Way Home movie. I absolutely love the metallic blue on this figure. It looks really, really clean. I'm not gonna lie. The black lines on the suit are maybe a little too dark and almost look like they were drawn on with Sharpie. He also comes with two sets of hands. I believe one's open hands and the other's web-sweeping hands. And here is the alternate head sculpt. Really, really close to a comic adaptation of Spider-Man. I believe this final swing suit for Tom Holland is probably the second most comic accurate Spider-Man suit out of these three figures we've got here. Tobey Maguire will always be my favorite, but I think the Tom Holland figure looks a lot nicer. Now here I swapped the masked head on, and I did a little dynamic crouching pose, so to speak. I really like the color on this figure, minus those Sharpie lines. This figure is absolutely stellar. I mean, it just looks like a classic Spider-Man. Overall, there's really not a whole lot that I dislike about this Tom Holland action figure from No Way Home. The joints on this version I got is a lot less janky and stiff compared to the Tobey Maguire one, which is nice. I'm not really doing anything interesting with the posing here, so I'm just kind of playing around with it. If you want to go see someone who can pose. I would look at a lot of action figure photographers on Instagram because I am not the guy. So I apologize for that once again. But here we are, Spidey standing up, doing some wonky pose, and we're going to take a closer look at that Tom Holland face sculpt, which, though I'd say is like a 9 out of 10 likeness. His brow might be a little bit inaccurate, but the hair is on point, the mouth, the eyes, the nose is all there. Now for our final Spider-Man figure out of the three, we've got Andrew Garfield, who I think has the best suit out of the three, in my opinion. I still think Tobey Maguire was the best live-action portrayal of Spider-Man. That doesn't mean his suit and everything about him is my favorite. I'm not that biased, I promise. I really, really dig the coloration on this one. It almost has that Ultimate Spider-Man feel to it, which looks really cool. Obviously, the dark red on the suit is a little bit darker than the Ultimate Comics, but that is what it is. I think the likeness on this Andrew Garfield head sculpt is quite spectacular. Wink, wink. I dig the webbing on the suit. I think it's just the right amount of blue as well. And the masked head is pretty solid. It almost reminds me of the mask from Web of Shadows in terms of coloration and webbing, albeit the eyes are much, much bigger. I still think it looks really cool. You could use this as a comic book Spider-Man if you have the mask on. Now he's got a fisted hand and also comes with, I believe, a like half open hand, as my camera is trying to be smart here. Here's the half open hand. I think it's, pretty good. Now I'm going to pop off the head here and do a close-up here now that we're in 4K because I finally got my shit together. And I think the hair on this face sculpt looks really nice, honestly. I'm not going to lie. Now that we've popped the mask head back on, I think the overall silhouette here is the most endearing depiction of the web slinger overall. I love the spider logo on the back. I think it can work as a comic Spider-Man in your collection on your shelf as well as a movie variant to boot. So here we got all three standing next to each other for a little size comparison here, since people in the comments have been asking me to do size comparisons. Although all these figures are advertised as 6-inch figures or 1/12 scale, I do think the Andrew Garfield is slightly the tallest out of the three, with Tom Holland being the shortest by maybe a smidge, which I think is the most accurate thing they could have done here. I just can't get over the proportions of that Tobey Maguire figure. I think the proportions are way too wonky. I think the proportions are much, much better on the Tom Holland and Andrew Garfield versions of the Spectacular Spider-Man. But just having these three figures standing side by side is just taking a walk through memory lane and Spider-Man history, and it's a real treat to have these. I waited until I got a second copy of each figure to finally open them up, and I'm very much glad I did, and I figured I might as well do a combo review on all of them. Sadly, my least favorite figure out of the three is the Tobey Maguire one, which is quite sad since he's my favorite Spider-Man. I just don't like the shoulders. I think he looks way too scrawny. I'm going to give him a 7.5 out of 10. A runner-up here taking home the silver medal is the Tom Holland figure with the final swing suit. Honestly, I like this figure a lot. The metallic's nice. He gets an 8.5 out of 10. And my favorite of the bunch, the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man. Not much bad to say about this, honestly. I love the logos. I love the webbing. I love everything about this figure. And overall, I'm just super stoked to have him in my collection. He's getting a 9 out of 10. That's a full package here. I'm going to give this an 8.7 out of 10. Be sure to let me know which one's your favorite in the comments below. This has been DC Supreme. Take care, guys, and stay classy.